Yeah, so we're final start today. So we're off of practice yesterday. We're off of practice today. We've done that most years, almost every year that we give the guys the first 2 days of the week, so they've got time to get into their studies and get prepared for their Monday tests, and same thing on Monday afternoon and Monday night to be able to get ready for their Tuesday test. So by the time that we see them, it'll be Tuesday afternoon at 3:30, and so a number of their finals will be taken by that time. So we're going to practice Tuesday and Wednesday this week, and then we'll have Thursday off, and then go Friday, Saturday to get ready for our Sunday game with Marshall. So like it is every year, a little bit of a different week. But as I mentioned, and as has been the case, our finals take priority over our practice time for the first 3 or 4 days of the week here. So we did work out on Saturday, had a really good workout. Marshall's got a team that's really active. They play fast, get to the offensive glass, defensively, put some pressure on you and long, and yeah. So we're looking forward to when we do get to the practice floor, some good workouts to get ready for a good team here a week from or coming up on Sunday. With that, I would take your questions.
This is a stretch where you have one game in 18 days, just from your last game until you see Illinois State. Just how do you like that kind of gap, as well as your team is playing, to have that many days of no competition?
Yeah, I wasn't sure how we would handle it the 2 weeks ago. We had a pretty good break there. We had played pretty well, and then had an extended break prior to playing at Colorado and at Grand Canyon, and like how the guys handled that one. Garrett, it's different. We don't have that. Our November, December has gotten so compacted with the number of games that we can play now in college basketball, and so it just doesn't. This is the first time I can remember having two of them. Finals week is always a week where you don't. You always 7-8 days between games. But this is the first time I can remember having two extended breaks. So the guys handled the first one well, which is good, and I think can help us. So I think they'll handle it well. This is a team that's practiced hard. They show up at practice and they work at it, and obviously that's a good sign, and that has to happen. But it also helps you a lot. And I think it helped us going into the Colorado game that these guys come to the practice floor and they work at it. They get after each other and compete at a high level, and that's not only is it the best thing you can do, it's really the only thing you can do when you've got that kind of time. And then just managing the time off. We were just talking about it as a staff, and I don't like practicing. Really, I don't like practicing 3 days in a row when the game is the fourth day. That's okay, but for sure not 4 days in a row, and would never want to go 5 days in a row with practices. So working in which day you're going to take off. So we'll have Tuesday, Wednesday practice, and then we're going to take Thursday off. Even though the guys are, for the most part, they should all be done with finals, still have it as a day off. So they get some time to themselves, they get off their feet, and then we can have two hard practices before we play. So, I think the guys will be fine.
What areas do you plan on focusing on to move this team forward? You want to get better everywhere, but are there a couple of specific areas?
I think the same ones. Blocking out, what we're doing there. It's been good, and we had a good trip. If I'm thinking right, we out-rebounded Colorado by a small number, and then had a very good rebounding night against Grand Canyon. But that would be one. It's going to be really important against Marshall that we do a great job of blocking those guys out. And then I would tell you at the defensive end, there's a number of things that we're doing pretty good. But we've got to work to get ahead of the action a little bit. There's being a split second behind the action puts a lot of pressure on your next play, whether that's a rotation, a closeout, a blockout, whatever it might be. And right now we're about we're just a split second, or maybe a fraction of a second, behind the play on in some instances, and so we got to find a way to get that to where it's get that to where it's even. And then if you're going to be if you're going to be one of the better defensive teams in the country, you got to get it to the other side of that, where you're a fraction of a second ahead of the action. So you're moving and anticipating, and your awareness is now on the plus side. And right now, it's gotten better. And the guys play really hard defensively. But our communication, our awareness, our anticipation, we need to move that from, that fraction of a second, behind. We got to get it even, and then we've got to move it to the plus side. And that'd be a big move for us. And we've got to work hard at that this week.
In saying that, back on media day, you mentioned how important it would be for this team to get to that level of practices like your 14, 15 team, teams before, where it was just like you said, every day was a lot of fun.
Right.
Practice because of the level there.
Yep.
It sounds like they're getting close to that, and perhaps when they do maybe potentially get to that level, then they're a fraction of a second ahead instead of behind.
Yeah, that's the combination of doing it every day at practice and then getting on the game floor enough so you've got game experience. And for even for AJ and Fife, who are in their sophomore year, obviously Austin a year older, but in his second year of playing. Trey in his second year. You've got the 3 freshmen that have been in the rotation. So there's a number of guys that don't have a bunch of game experience, and so they're learning about what it takes to be successful on game nights. The guys as young, they all know how to play, but that's different than knowing how to be successful on game night. So you've got to have some of the game experience to go along with the highly competitive practices, and we've got to put those two things together right now. And when we get midweek and get some of those finals done, get back to the competitiveness at practice. Yeah.
Coach, during the Grand Canyon game, JD was one of the first ones to come in. He's been about at least 10 minutes against the last 4 Is he now kind of a rotation regular there?
Yeah. He's earned his way into that spot. Yeah, he's played great, and that's been a lot of fun to see. When you've got there's a couple parts to that. As a 5th-year senior who was in that rotation in that spot last year, and we were playing really well down the stretch, and that was his role a year ago on game night, and then to get backed up with Fife coming back and with James earning those minutes, he got backed up into that 3rd or 4th spot. To just continue to practice hard and do a great job with his leadership. And then when his name is called, go in and not only play well, compete at a high level, but you can see how much fun he's having, right? It's easy to see. He's got a smile on his face. He's not backing down from any challenges. You think about the West Virginia, South Carolina, and a couple of those toe-to-toe, kind of face-to-face type deals. And, he's having a blast. So yeah, he has. He's moved. He's earned his way into that spot. And it's been good for our team.
What do you know about Marshall at this point?
I've watched a couple of their games. They play twice this week, I believe, if I've got that correct, Cole. So we'll get some more out of the 2 games this week. PJ has the scout and has been working on them for quite a while, so he's got all of their games watched. He's got everything in order. We'll get into them a little bit on Tuesday, even though we're in the middle of finals. And we even introduced some things this past Saturday already with some of the things that they do offensively. Like I said, from what I've watched so far, very active, put a lot of pressure on you with their length, with their pressure on the ball, put a lot of pressure on you with their transition offense, and then the way in which they go about offense in the half court. They're really active. They slip out of some ball screens and throw it up to the rim. They've got a number of guys that shoot it from the 3-point line. They'll rebound with 3 and 4 guys. It's both ends everywhere. It just feels like there's something happening. Like they want things to be happening all the time.
And Dan Tony, Mike's brother, Mike, who's the NBA coach. Are many NBA concepts and what they're doing?
That's some of the ball screen stuff, I would say. With the way in which they're doing it. And again, they set some, they slip out of some, they throw it up to the rim as much as any team that we will play against this year. And you see a lot of that in the NBA with the ball screen, where they'll slip out of it, they'll get behind that defender who's providing support on the ball screen, and those guys will just throw it to the rim like that. They do that more than anybody that we've played this year, and probably more than anybody that we'll see this year. Yeah.
You have a chance to close non-conference 11-1. Is this something you saw coming going into the season, or what do you think's allowed the team to get to this point?
what they've done at practice, is the reason why we are sitting where we're sitting. From a record standpoint, the fact that they haven't, I told them, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 weeks ago when it was. I told them, look, guys, your record doesn't matter. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. 10-1 feels a lot better than 6-5, and feels way better than 3-8. Right? That part of it adds to your confidence, and I think helps guys when they come to practice, when they know they've got to strap it up tight and get to work. But at the end of the day, it just doesn't have any impact on what you're going to be like as you go forward. The only thing that does is what you decide to do when you get up in the morning. And these guys they've taken to that. I tell them all the time, just get up and work hard. And that's the reason why we're getting better. There's some other reasons why we're sitting where we're sitting. Ty's healthy, and Fife is healthy, and JD's playing great. And some of the things that that we have talked about, and some of the things that are going on with our team. The 3 freshmen are, even though they're not playing a lot, it's fun having those guys, and they provide some little bounce in our step and some excitement. So they're a lot of those things that we've touched on. But at the end of the day, the record doesn't matter. You got to get up and work, and these guys have taken to that. Anybody else? All right, thanks.